Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the JLJ podcast. It's your boy Jack Remery. I'm here with my man JVK.
How's it going, guys?
Also here with Matho.
How's it going, guys?
And we've got a big review of the prelim finals that just happened, the Port vs Richmond and Brisbane vs Geelong, and then also a little bit of talking about the Brownlow, some things that we thought a bit stiff. So let's get into it. The Port vs Richmond. Boys, thoughts on this game?
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting game. Obviously, the closer game out of the two. Richmond, strong away from home. I think they were just strong all game. It was very even set match. Port Adelaide finished strong. Hats off to Brad Ebert as well, finishing off with such a courageous effort.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But, I mean, Richmond by 6. Dusty, I think, arguably best on 2 goals, 21 touches. But Nathan Tank's second half, I think that's also another candidate for best
Absolutely.
on.
He had a huge second half, some big intercept marks down the back line with 10 tackles as well, which is something I like to see, especially from a ruck. Great defensive performance from Toby. I think he dominated Lysette in the second half and was one of the reasons why they won the game in the end for me.
I think Connor Rosé was very strong for Port as well.
Yeah, and
they didn't get over the line, but
the other guy's name? Dersma. Yeah, he was good.
He was good too.
Yeah,
very promising signs at Port. Young
exactly.
side that's very, very, very good. It was a bit of a shame, obviously, Whitefriars lads. Didn't get to see Dill get a gig this year, but
obviously not.
Hopefully next season he'll come up through the ranks.
Hopefully.
Yeah, true. Yeah, with that game, as Corky said, Ebert retiring on a very strong game, which was good to see. The big Dersma versus Lynch, after Dersma went up to Lynch after that goal, and then a quarter later dropping a chest mark and potentially costing them the game. If he takes that chest mark and kicks the goal, he may have won. They may have won the game. You never know. Of course, he's still young and he had a great game. It was very hard on the ball and one of Port's best players.
Yeah.
He got ahead of himself with the celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate, yeah.
The big bow and arrow. I think Charlie
the one where went up to Lynch.
Yeah, but that's always a set plan to get into Lynch's head.
Yeah.
If you get into Lynch's head, then you'll be able to beat him.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
What they tried to do. And it's obviously
that's another talking point though, lads. Tommy Lynch obviously getting the bourbon and coke thrown over him after the game. And then consoling a crying Port Adelaide fan. So what's your take on that? Yeah, so
with that, of course, we call a lot of players wankers on this, but that's only off on the field. And of course, they're all good people off the field. Maybe one or two. But I won't mention their names, so I don't think good people off the field. But yeah, I think every player deserves to be treated with respect off the field. And seeing someone like Tom Lynch, who hasn't done anything bad off the field, he's just a dirty player. And, seeing him console the Port Adelaide young supporter, which is good to show that he's a good bloke. But then for someone to throw, a beer over the top of him to show some, poor signs. And the fact that guy only got suspended for 2 years, I think it's just weak on Port Adelaide's
behalf. 2 or 3 years, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly.
2 or 3 years, membership suspended. I think that doesn't warrant. That's anywhere near as what the suspension should be.
It's got to be further than that. And I think with the Lynch thing, Jack, I agree with you there. Put a lot of stick towards Lynch, and I don't like him on the field, like you said. But I think a lot of AFL supporters need to be able to deviate between on the field and off the field, because it's completely different of whether you like someone or don't like someone, and just keep it to how you don't like how they play and what they do on the field, and don't let that reflect the person who they actually are off the field, I reckon. And that was really good to see from Lynch. A lot of people saying that he just did it just to get his name good, but I disagree with that. I think he shows some signs that he's quite a good person off the field, but he does need to clean up his act on the field, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And it almost comes down to white line fever. Obviously all AFL players have been playing footy their whole career, or their whole life, I should say. And they're very good at it, clearly. So I think competitive people get on the field. Once they're on the field, they cliche saying, but don't leave anything off the field or on the field or whatever the saying is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Lynch does get very dirty, but like Damien Hardwick says, they do just bring a tough brand of footy to the game. And obviously the dirty stuff behind the play doesn't really, apply to that, but it's just people are different, completely different on and off the field, like that white line fever saying goes. So anyway, the Geelong game, Jacko, your old Lions.
Yeah,
disappointing by 40.
Disappointing result here. Darcy Gardner going out with, a couple hours before the game. Obviously isn't ideal because he is, our second key defender. So it wouldn't have made a difference if he played. We still would have lost the game, but maybe in a more respectable total. But Geelong were just the much better team on the night. They dominated. Gary Rowan kicked 3. They were all some, junk time goals. So when were people saying he's in All-Australian form, had a good laugh at that one. Gary Ablett, Koss got the man of the match by the AFL and the fans voting. He played a great game with 2 goals, 2 big goals as well. Of course, one of them was a throw. No surprise, Brisbane losing to a throw in a final like last year.
That was the biggest throw I've ever seen. I couldn't believe it when I was watching. I literally couldn't believe it, how they didn't pick up on that.
Yeah. And of course, Hawkins also kicked 2 goals as well. So their forward line was looking really strong against Brisbane when Brisbane's only real player was Lachie Neale, with the 2 goals and 20-odd touches. So, it was just disappointing for the Lion boys.
Yeah, I think obviously it was a throw, but I don't think in saying that you lost because of a throw.
No. It's just because last year we literally lost because he threw the ball to Brett Daniels and then he kicked the goal with a minute left.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I just heard you say it before, and I was about to say, hang on a sec, he got done by 40 points. I don't know.
Yeah. Like if they called that free kick, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah. No,
it could have been more than 40 as well. I reckon
exactly.
Brisbane are lucky to keep it at 40.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
I think, though, most Brisbane supporters, like yourself, Jack, I think a lot of them have handled it very well. I think they've just taken it that they had a very, very good season, promising signs ahead, and just got done by the better team on the day. Like Lachie Neale said in his Brownlow speech, that sorry to the Brisbane fans, they didn't turn up and didn't play their best game, but they can promise more in the future. So I think that's promising stuff, and good on him for coming out and saying sorry to the fans. And disappointing into the season, but someone has to lose. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, cool. And of course, a lot of Brisbane supporters were just happy that we got the one finals win. I was, going into the finals campaign, I just wanted to win one final. I didn't mind if we lost to Richmond, then beat St Kilda the next week or whatever, and then have to go play in Port. We're still happy to lose in the prelim. Just to see that the young boys could get a win in a finals game just shows that they'll be able to build confidence. Then hopefully, maybe next year or the year after, we can start trying to actually win the premiership.
They'll be back next year.
And 100%. Top of it all, second on the ladder. So it's definitely a strong season, obviously. And it does it just does come down to finals experience. Obviously, going out in straight sets last year and getting a win this final series in the first week of the finals was a big step from last season's finals. So I think it's just going to go onwards and upwards from here, I think. And most people would think you're stupid if you're not. But it's just, sensible thing.
Yeah, exactly.
A very young list, very young, promising list. And I think it's just finals experience. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm. And speaking on Lachie Neale, great segue into the Brownlow. Of course, Lachie Neale winning the Brownlow with ease. We got that right in the JLJ predictions. Pretty sure everyone in the world got that one right. But, of course, Lachie Neale broke the record for most votes per game, which averaged like 2 point something. So, if it was a full season, I wouldn't be surprised he went close to 40 votes.
It's crazy.
31 votes from 17 games is absolutely ludicrous.
That much more than the second place as well. It is.
And
I thought it was going to be a little closer than that, but it was an absolute position.
This is a bit of a inside gossip here as well. I do believe that the JLJ Brownlow, he won by 8 votes, but we changed it to 6 to make it look respectable.
Yes, so that is very true. You know, we may or may not have had him on 28 votes, and then we go, gee, actually, maybe that might be too much. We'll drop him down to 26. But
the AFL showed no remorse though, did they? They just said,
we showed remorse because our award's better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. The last round, they got me like, all right, he's about 15, you know, votes, and he won near him. You know, we'll just maybe not give him the 3 this game. Oh wait, no, he's 3.
Exactly. No, good on him though. Hats off to him. And I think his speech was perfect.
It's good.
It was definitely unfortunate that Nat Fyfe obviously couldn't give him the award or the medal. But what was your lads' take on all the different hubs, obviously, for the different Brownlows? I personally enjoyed it, considering what the circumstances was. I thought it was pretty good. Obviously not the real deal in Melbourne, but I mean, it was good for what they could do.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm similar to that. Like, I thought it was really good, you know. Of course, also having the front bar guys on.
That was awesome.
Halfway through and stuff, it's always funny. But the one thing that I thought it was annoying though, when Lachie Neale presented the Brownlow medal to himself.
Someone else.
You know, Simon Black sitting 10 meters from him. He's a Brownlow medalist. He can give it to him.
Get Gil McLaughlin. Get the CEO.
Exactly. Yeah, Gil was there as well. You know, either one of those two could have easily handed it to him, which would have made
it was weird.
A lot more sense to me instead of handing it to yourself.
Even if it was his coach, like.
Yeah,
even if Fags got up there and gave it to him, like someone higher than him that's got a bit of what's the word? Just I mean pride and stuff, and it's I felt bad for him personally, having to turn around and put it on his own head. That was or around his own neck. I thought it was a little bit sad that he had to do it, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Simon Black definitely. Like you have Simon Black there. I think it's a bit crazy. He didn't. But one thing I want to bring up, lads, is Menengola. Like, come on now. Well, how many votes did he get in total? Under 10?
5. I got 5.
He had 5 votes. That is the biggest robbery in Brownlow history. Menengola, right? Round 11, polled 0 votes. He had 2 goals, 26 touches, 11 marks, kicking at 80%. What else are you meant to do? He was best on ground by a country mile. I think Gary Rowan got votes over him, kicking probably 4 goals, probably 3 in the goal square with no one on him. I think that's ridiculous. I think he got stitched up on multiple occasions.
Yeah, he definitely got stitched up on a few votes, but then again, he is a midfielder, but once again, wings don't get recognised.
Wingers get stitched up.
They don't get any recognition for what they do. But at the end of the day, I think the votes in the Brownlow, I think it's based off the influence that they have on the game. Like I know Tom Mitchell always got plenty of stats, and the stats suggest that you have a massive influence on the game. But you could have 35 touches, but you're going at 20%. It's not an amazing stat to have just a lot. You have to be using it well.
Yeah, but you also say that though, and you know, of course, with the stats, you know, of course, in that year, Tom Mitchell was the best player by a mile. You can't say his stats wasn't. You know, of course, also reflecting he won the MVP and coach's MVP that year, so he was.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you say
it's like
when you say this, the disposals and stuff, you know, may not be getting them. You know, I think Jake Lloyd finished 4th in the AFL with disposals, and I think he polled 1 or 2 votes for the entire
year. Exactly.
So just shows that getting the ball doesn't always warrant the votes.
Yeah, I think it's the influence on the game, and that's what I'm trying to say in the disposal efficiency. Like obviously Tom Mitchell, he was by far the best player in the competition. Each week was easily up there in best 3 on ground and whatnot. And I think I saw a post on Instagram or something, wherever it was, and I think it was Tom Mitchell won the Brownlow and he had insane stats. Dustin Martin won it and he had a massive influence on the game, and Lachie Neale's won it and he had, I think he was just, I can't remember what it was exactly, but it was just very true in what each of them said.
Yeah, exactly. It's just always be voted differently. And of course, you know, I don't think a forward will ever win the Brownlow again. If I'm being honest, it's now a midfielder only
award.
Yeah. And
top 10 all midfielders.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Exactly. You'll never get, and also Ruckman will never win it. Yeah, of course, Nick Nui, didn't poll as well as people thought he would. That's the reason he didn't do very well in our JLJ, because we knew that he wouldn't poll the votes that maybe he deserved for his influence on the game, just because he doesn't get many touches of the ball, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I think Max Gawn as well. I don't know about all his votes, to be completely honest. I know, obviously, Ruckman's, just like wingmen, have a massive influence on the game and whatnot, but Nick Nui was obviously the starting ruckman for the All-Australian side, and Max Gawn's on the bench, but Max Gawn's polling, what do you get, 15 votes or something?
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, Gawn got 13, I think, yeah.
I think that was a little bit ludicrous. But the other awards, obviously, Goal of the Year, Josh Dacos, and Mark of the Year, Sam Walsh. What's everyone's thoughts on that?
Goal of the Year was good.
Happy with Goal of the Year. Mark of the Year was stupid. That's
ludicrous. They showed some replays of some other market players going back with the flight. They're not even nominated, and I argue are just as good as that. I think it was a crazy winner for me. I think the other two were monumentally better than that Sam Walsh mark. Matt, I know you agree with me here. I mean, disagree with me here, but I think Charlie Cameron's was way better than both of those marks, to be honest. And I think he deserved it, and he got absolutely robbed.
Yeah, definitely both marks deserved it, and I suppose it is a sensational mark award for, I suppose, talent and whatnot on display. But I think what you got to take into consideration is he jumped, going back with the flight with 2 full forwards and 2 full backs coming back with him at the stage of the game.
Though. It's not back. His body was facing like the ball. He wasn't, running head on.
Which way was he running? Which way was he running?
He ran sideways. If I'm being honest, he jumped sideways.
Back towards the goals. He runs back towards the goals.
It wasn't. I would not count that a back with a flight mark.
No, well, that's just.
It's not like a John O'Brien, Nick Rewalt kind of mark. I get what you're saying, but there was other marks, Matho, during the season. They're showing highlights, and they were actually running back into it, and they've taken marks, or they've done the exact same thing as Walsh did, and they got no recognition. There was better speckies. No, the Easton Wood mark, that mark that he took on the wing on someone's shoulders, was a better mark than the one that actually won the mark of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah. I thought I wouldn't even put Sam Walsh in the top 5 marks for the year, and he's ended up winning it.
Yeah, I have to disagree. I'm heavy biased, but I think going back with a flight and 2 full forwards and 2 full backs running at it, and in the dying moments of the game, obviously not knowing what's going to happen and being up, I think it's hence he stayed on the ground for a little while, obviously being hurt, being hit by 2 big full forwards and holding up play for a little bit because we were up at the time. I think it was a talent display.
Yeah, sure. It's a good mark, but it's not mark. Like, you go back 5 years' time, you'll watch, best marks, like last 10 marks of the year, and you'll see that and you go, geez, how the cross is that one mark of the year? That's what will happen.
Yeah. It happens every year. There's always a robbery. Andrew Walker didn't win it that year. He sat on Jake Carlisle's head.
That's true. I mean, the year that Joey won was not mark of the year, but it was still it still was on someone's shoulders, though. I mean, fair enough.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Matthew got another one to say.
I also think that the Jack Nunes goal probably could have got goal of the year.
No, it's
no way.
If that Jack Nunes or Robbie Gray goal got mark of the year, I would have cracked the shit.
Goal of the year, yeah.
Yeah, they're not good goals. Just because of the moment doesn't mean it's a good goal. Like, it's not even a top 30 goal. It's just because of what.
Ask a few Collingwood supporters, and they'll tell you that Dacos didn't really deserve it.
Cripps deserve it 100 times more than.
Well, yeah, I think it was maybe not Cripps because he ran about 30 meters. But yeah, Cripps' goal was good. But I think Dacos deserved to win it.
I do
not
agree.
saying Dacos didn't deserve it, but I think Jack Nunes was a sensational kick from the boundary line after the siren, tough angle. But
yeah, I mean, if that one's nominated, then Robbie Grace has to be nominated as well. For me, like if that's how they're going to do it, then every year there should be a shot after the siren from a tough angle. I don't think it was. Obviously, it was an amazing kick, like a good kick. But AFL players should be able to kick that from the boundary. I understand it's under pressure, but the kick itself, you take away the moment.
Yeah, the kick
and AFL players should be able to kick that at a decent rate.
You could say that about every single kick, though.
No, well, that's the
but the other
players
ones
do
are
kick
just
that.
amazing
Like
goals.
there would have been 30 of those types of goals kicked this year.
What, Jack Newton's from the boundary line?
Yes.
From the boundary would have been.
Yeah, from the boundary. Yeah, there was like 10 of them where there was like weird torpedoes and stuff that were from the boundary line. That wasn't better than that one, but because of the moment, that happened in the first quarter, you wouldn't even remember it. You wouldn't. But because it happened.
Oh, it happened. No, yes, you would.
No, you wouldn't. That's not a good goal.
No, you wouldn't.
It's a
Tom
good goal. It's 100%
Tom
a good
Hawkins
goal.
kicks 10 of them a year.
Yeah, Dangerfield kicked 2 from the boundary in one game. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Dustin Martin does it every single week, and he gets played in the replays. So you're saying that
in
you
the
would
replays of that
remember
game, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, the replays of the game.
Goal of the
I wouldn't
It's
remember.
highlights, though. It's highlights.
Yeah, but so used to people would
Most
remember it.
goals are in the highlights. Pretty much every goal's in the highlights.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
I wouldn't
The highlights
remember
of
it.
One singular game doesn't make it a goal of the year contender.
Mm.
Gary Rowland probably kicked a goal from the boundary line. That jumped in the highlights for that week. That's
Yeah,
not a goal.
exactly. So,
Yeah, exactly.
but saying that you wouldn't remember the goal if it was in the first quarter is just
If
ridiculous.
that was
wouldn't.
first quarter, second round
You
this
wouldn't.
year, by
No,
round
that's
17, you
just
would not
stupid.
remember that kick.
You
I mean, you
wouldn't
remember if
remember it.
someone brought it up, but you wouldn't think, oh, our best moments this year, that kick in that
Was-
first quarter from the boundary line. No way.
100% agree, VK.
No way.
Yeah,
Well,
your opinion.
There we
right?
go. Said everything. Now we can wrap up the video. All right, guys.
Yep.
Thanks for listening in for this podcast. Make sure you tuned in for tomorrow, where we'll be previewing the grand final. So that's going to be a massive episode. Go follow us on TikTok. TikTok starting to pop off now.
Going on.
Is a bit
It is.
one of you has got 20K. Last couple have got 1 or 2K. We should be having a big spam on TikTok. We are planning to get 7 or 8 videos out before the grand final. So hopefully that can help the channel grow and give you guys some more content. So thanks for listening,
Absolutely.
guys, and tune in for more.
Stay up.